You're kicking it with G on your favorite station.
The perfect station.
92 KELZ, the only station with new music, new artists, new sound.
We are live in the studio with Mr. Ted Irving. How you doing today?
What's up, y'all? I'm good. I'm just trying to get my bearings, man. You know, my feet dangling, man. You know, you got these high chairs. I know I feel like I'm 6'2", but then sitting in this chair is like I'm 4'1".
Realism hits very heavy when you get in these chairs.
You know, when you was a little kid, feet just dangling. Yeah.
Hey, but it's comfortable though. You get
It
right
is,
like
it is comfortable.
Like, okay.
We're trying to help you reminisce on how it used to feel when you were a child and you're happy.
Right. You're happy, your feet swinging and all that. Yeah, okay, all right.
We are so happy to have you here with us today. We were talking earlier about, of course, it's Black History Month.
Right.
So why not have someone here who is Black excellence within the city of Houston, mover and shaker,
and down to earth,
and
somebody you can go talk to, run up to it. Hey, what's going? And he gonna talk to you.
Did you say earth or earth?
Earth.
I like earth. Hit a earth. Just down to earth.
I think he said earth.
Just earth.
I'm country, so y'all gonna get what y'all get. You gonna get down to earth. You gonna get down to earth.
Just
all of it.
Yeah.
I absolutely love it. Okay, so before we get into what you do, we're really big about getting to know the person behind the business, behind the success. So tell us a little bit about who you are as a person, not what you do.
What started this journey?
What started? Oh, man, it started as a kid. My stepfather at the time, shout out, Baby Dave Felder, KCOH, AM back in the day, 3rd Ward, Alameda. I used to be at the radio station quite a bit. You know, my mom, you know, they used to get tickets and everything to go see Prince and Shaka Khan, all that kind of stuff. And then as I got a little older, you know, the benefits of the tickets, you know, mom, you know, was able to go to all the Prince concerts. So, you know, I left it alone throughout middle school, high school. Of course, you know, we were gone and everything. My mom and stepfather had gotten divorced and everything. So when I got to college, Sam Houston State University, it just, you know, they just say, well, what do you want to major in? Because I didn't know what I wanted to do. I was just floating. And I said, well, you know, lady in the neighborhood, Fofo, Acres Home. Miss Johnson.
You hear it in there. There's a little stiffness in there.
When
he was called out, he's like, Alameda, Justin, you know.
So
we lived all over, man. You know, I got to throw shout out to Brygate Elementary, Mo City, you know, 3rd Ward, sophomore, everybody. B-Downs Barbershop, hey.
That Houston came out.
Everybody, you know.
Even Rushwoodians, North Side. Rushwood, what's up? So anyway, yeah, you know, when I got to college, finally, still didn't know what I wanted to do. And they said, well, what do you want to major in? And it just hit me. Well, why not communications, radio, TV, and film? Because, well, I did that as a kid, and that was it.
So what inspired the whole impeak behind the whole communication and the television, just being behind the camera itself?
Well, in college, I mean, I just got the taste, you know. It was just you get into it, you start editing. I learned how to operate a TV studio. Learned how to operate a radio studio. I was a DJ on Saturday nights, then came back in for gospel. Sunday morning, it was a DJ. I mean, they exposed me as Sam to everything. I mean, in terms of my degree, you know, radio, TV, and film. Film was a little thin. I didn't get that till later in life, but definitely radio and TV, we were just all into it, you know, eat and sleep it. And so it was just, you know, it's like something, you catch it, and then it's like, man, you just take off with it, right? And even when I graduated, I didn't get into it till a year later. I was trying to find work, which was really difficult. But just give you a little story of inspiration, just real quick. So my first real job, full-time job, was at KTRK, ABC Channel 13. And so before that,
And that was your first job, your first full-time, really?
Yeah, well, see, I went to Birmingham and interned, you know, paid internship, tried to work. That didn't work out, came back. And ended up working at Disney. Here I am with a degree working at, not Disney, I'm sorry, Astro World, with it like everybody. But, you know, I had a degree. I couldn't find work. It was hard to get in TV. And then end up doing work for the Rockets through a company called John Crow Productions. So Chili Bill, let me get a little shout out. Chili Bill is the man who gave me the lead and said, hey, man, go over to the Compact Center, all right? Go into the back docks. When you get there, ask for this guy named Tonk. So I just walk up. You know, this is before 9/11. You could just walk up to the back dock and ask for somebody. You didn't have to go through security. So I get up there. I ask for him. He says, okay, man, yeah, you know, come back Saturday. And I went back and I did work for WWE, running camera. I did camera work for Martin Lawrence concert. Man, what else did I do? The Rockets, you know, cable tow. And they pay you like between $40 and $70 a day, right? And you might work 10 hours, but that's all you're going to get.
Yeah.
I used to hold a shotgun mic, man, and follow the basketball for the Rockets. And the shotgun mic allows you to hear the ball. That's why you can hear the ball so clear. I'm just sitting on the floor following
the ball.
$50. Yeah, but what happened was, again, Chili Bill, back in those days, Magic 102, talked to him again. He said, man, I heard word, Channel 13 has a position open. I heard from some other people. I called the station. The lady said, hey, look, bring me your resume on Monday. I talked to her on a Wednesday. That was the Wednesday before, okay? And she said, bring me your resume and your demo reel on Monday next week. No, I went and got VCRs together and did old school, cut and splice from one tape to the other. It was horrible, man. It was an ugly resume. That sizzle reel was ugly. And I had my resumes, got them all printed out. Saturday morning in torrential rainstorm from 1960 all the way to West University.
Oh, wow.
Took my resume and my demo reel, got to the back gate, pressed the button. They answered, hello, how can we help you? Yeah, I'm here on a delivery for Miss, and the lady that gave me the opportunity, her name was Diana Sanders, still working in TV today. I said, this is for Diana Sanders. They opened it up, let me in. I went in. They said, oh, yeah, her box is right over there. Put it in her box. That way, when she got to work Monday,
It was already there.
no, it's already there.
You ain't got
It's
to worry
already
about
there.
that.
Yeah, no,
Hey,
no. That's how you do it. You got to grind to
that's
get in this
some
business.
And he's saying key, straight facts.
That
That
is-
is some
yes.
genius stuff. Hey, I got a delivery. What is your...
yeah, you got it.
But I think what's kind of lost in this generation, and we talk about this all the time, all the legwork that you have to do
To put
just
in?
to get to
Man.
that position, and if you don't prepare for that opportunity, you're going to be doing so much trying to get it all together and trying to look and see what qualifies you. You had that background as far as being diverse in different genres. How much do you think that actually helped you with preparation for what you're doing now?
Being diverse in different genres. Man, wow. Yeah, it helped a lot. I mean, I kind of didn't have a choice. At college, you had different programming. You were asked to be on this. You had to host this. You had to do this. I mean, you had to go shoot. When we talk about news, broadcast journalism, even on the college level, it's like, okay, hey, here's your beat. You got to go cover this. So I had to go out and cover it. So the Hispanic community on campus, Anglo community, African Americans, everybody on campus. Then you get out, you work at Channel 13. We're covering everybody in the city. And so it's just by nature, even now in my position working, it's like, hey, wait a minute. We need to make sure we cover this community and that community. We need to be aware of, for example, the Nigerian community in Houston is the largest in the United States. We need to know about that. We need to cover stuff they're doing. Or we need to know about the Vietnamese community, African American community. Hey, what's going on? We need to be about it and know about it.
Is it anyone's particular job to be able to make sure that that information is getting to the right person? Because that's what I feel like gets lost in the translation. Like everybody wants it there, but we forget, okay, so who's going to do it? You know what I mean? Who's really going to get that the necessary information to the source?
I mean, from a broadcast journalism perspective, I mean, you have what's called an assignments desk editor, and there's always a morning meeting. We call them all kind of names. I won't curse on your show, but we give them. I mean, and so they plan it out with the anchors, the news directors, reporters, sometimes photographers, and they all go in the meeting, find out what in the world's going on throughout the day, assign it, and go out and cover it. And once we cover it and shoot it. It's just by nature that when you think about the big four networks, the audience is so large that we are going to get that information to everybody. So when you say who, is it going to get to the source or how are we going to, we're just so large, it's so big that we know it's going to get there.
Yeah.
Especially back then. I mean, now the competition is higher because you have just the internet, which is a huge competitor. You have online only news like USA Today, right? You have Newsy. You guys, right? You all have things. You may talk about features and entertainment, but in
The
news
news
and
is
broadcasting, they do a little bit of that as well. But you may beat us to it because, you're in tune with it.
And I was actually going to ask you that. So we recently saw within the past 2 weeks, we had the death of Kobe Bryant.
Right.
How important is it is it more important, actually, I should say, is it more important to get the news out first or get the accurate news out first? Because we had news that came out, and then after TMZ did their drop, there was all these other outlets coming out with information that was inaccurate.
Yeah, TMZ is just a different beast. I mean, from a even just, traditional news perspective, we've always wanted it to be accurate, right? and you want to get it out first because of ratings. But the thing is, like I tell people, news, when you think about President Trump and fake news, right, this whole spin, I'm not going to use the word fake, but journalism has always been never 100% true or even 50%, because for the most part, a lot of that we can't control. So, for example, if there is a robbery at night, middle of the night, and we have a crew out there, by the time we get there, the police already had the information. And when the reporters gather around that representative for the police department, they're only giving you the information that they want you to have. Yeah. So you're already telling a story that's it's missing pieces, right? You don't have it all. Then when you get back as a reporter, you don't have a certain amount of time. So when you write that story, who, what, when, where, why, and how, well, it may be some things you may have to leave out, some shots that may have to be left out. Then it gets to the editor, and then you don't know what's going to happen during the newscast. Is there going to be breaking news? Is it going to get preempted? So Edward R. Murrow always said, news is like looking at a person through a glass darkly. And what that means is you take a glass darkly. There are these old bottles that you could see through them, but on the other side, it was so blurry, you could see movement, but you couldn't. So you can't really see all the truth. You don't ever get all the truth. News, journalism has never been 100% accurate and true because we are taking information sometimes in a hearsay manner. Yeah. Well, here's a little bit of information we can give you, but we're not going to give you this other information. And that's just the nature of the beast. It's going to always be that way. And so people have to have alternative sources. You sometimes have to use common sense, or sometimes you just say, well, that's the news. Let me move on and focus on other areas and things that are happening in my life and community.
I definitely feel like that, even like with the news, because I think for a minute there, like the news kind of took a down hit because people were going away from it. And I guess they had to kind of spice it back up with all the different little entertainment segments, change out to some of the hosts. I don't know if people were getting older, so that generation of growing up on news was just dying off. So it was just, ratings was just dropping. But when it comes, like you're saying, to actually soaking up information, even if you're giving out the true straight facts, if it's not some sort of entertainment attached to it, you won't even get to most of the viewers now. Yeah, and it's media is fragmented these days. So the fragmentation, it used to be just the big three, and newspaper and radio. All of a sudden here came Fox. Yeah. And now we have everything from you all to, there are so many internet radio stations. And then you have, like I mentioned earlier, the USA Today's, the Washington Post, they're on the internet. But then you have all these other entities that are on the internet. Even in Houston right now, Culture Map is another. It's like a competitor to the Chronicle and other newspapers like Community Impact, which is a growing traditional newspaper in the state of Texas. Sam Houston State University grad that owns it. Hey, little shout out. But like, where do you go? Yeah. What do you, now, who, like for me, it is USA Today, Fox 26. That's just me. That's what I read and listen to, watch. And then during the day, of course, sometimes at work, I have to keep up with the news because I work in news. It's CNN, and then it's our channel as a government channel. I'm watching what's going on in terms of the government, what are the initiatives. And so those are my 4 areas of news. You all may have a totally different way that you obtain news. Yeah. I can this is my opinion. This is my opinion. I want nobody to butcher me off. But I can honestly say from my standpoint, how Isaiah Carey is doing his segments now is the perfect way for any news station to go, because he's in the community, he's grabbing people, bringing people back, he's delivering it to you don't have to be so professional. He's breaking the barriers down, bringing it down to a simple term so anybody can understand it. You know what I mean? And he's taking control of his composure, any backlash he went through. I love the things that he's doing right now he's bringing everybody in just grabbing people, just come.
I think you also have to understand the culture of wherever you're at. So it's perfect for Houston because of the type of culture that we have within Houston. It is, even though there is older wealth here, and it's a very, agricultural type base because there's a lot of oil and things like that. There is a new generation of young entrepreneurs. Definitely. So for him, the way he does it, he has such personality and all these other things. So it does grab it. However, it's not lost on the way that traditional forms of media has come to us. I mean, like you said, there's so many different internet radio stations. So people are technically listening to radio, but they want it to be digital. They want to be able to have it at their
and
fingertips.
it's tailored to them, right?
Yeah.
So, oh, you know what? I like this radio station. It's tailored for me, and so
Yeah.
you tune in all the time.
And I think that's the thing is now we have to figure out how do we still share the same information because we have a job to do, but how do we also stay true to the culture of what we build? So here at KickN IT Radio, we focus on a lot of entrepreneurs, people that are doing things within the community. Even if you are an artist, we want it to be community based, but we also have kind of this responsibility to still give that information. With your network, what is the biggest responsibility that you always put into your staff?
So I'm with government television. Okay, we are what's called PEG, P-E-G, Public Education and Government. Public is the Houston Media Source. That's our sister channel here in town. And if people don't know about Houston Media Source, it's where you can obtain a TV producer certification. Once you have it, you pay for it, you take the classes and pass. You can then produce television content, typically for free, and they broadcast your programs on their show for free. And then, of course, you can take it and do whatever you want with it in terms of selling it, going to places like NATP and other trade shows for TV.
Hey, that's a great
to sell.
I think that's a great thing what you just dropped right now because a lot of people don't even know.
A lot of
You know what I
people
mean?
don't
It's
realize
like,
it.
yo, like that's
Oh
a
yeah,
good.
yeah, oh yeah,
Yeah.
oh
And
yeah.
it's public information. People don't know that.
Yeah, so NAPI is sort of a traditional old school. It's big, it's huge. It's one of the major conferences every January. They've been moving it around. I think it was in Miami, but typically it had been in Vegas every year. And that's where you go to pitch to MTV, Sony, Viacom, any network entity to sell your content, whether it's 13-episode TV show or a movie for television or webisodes, whatever type of content you want to sell and get it bought. And so you have exclusive and non-exclusive deals. And it's where you go to learn how to pitch. I went in 2008 with a group of folks and great experience, incredible, because you learn how to pitch and sell, right? Because you want a distribution deal, you want an agreement. And you really want an exclusive agreement where that's the most money. A non-exclusive, you can sell to every state your content. So if you have a 13-episode TV show,
But
you want to sell
exclusive,
it,
you only have to work with that one station.
you just work with
right?
that one.
Yeah.
And they're going to, when you sign the contract, that's it. Now
That's
you get the
it.
big
Yeah,
money.
that's it.
Yeah. So, that's one of the things, you create content, you want to sell it. But before you do that, really in every major market, even medium-sized TV markets like the city of Houston, this is make sure I got it right, this is the 8th largest media market in the country.
Wow.
And so we've surpassed Dallas. Dallas for a long time because of Fort Worth, Arlington, that was the larger market. We've passed them. And so in this market, you can buy paid programming slots at all the TV stations. 30, they typically sell it in 30-minute or hour blocks. And so if you have 13 episodes, each is a 30-minute, the commercial space inside of that show, your show, that's yours. You can sell that. That's how you generate revenue in TV. Is let's just say it costs you $1,000 per episode. So it'll cost you $13,000 with the station. But you can design your show because your show has blocks, typically 4 to maybe 5 blocks. And in those blocks, you can have sponsors, you can have commercials. Those commercials you can charge for. You generate revenue off those commercials. And so you may have a TV show, and this is important if you go to NAPI, when you sell, you need to know what is the cost per episode. So your cost per episode may be, let's say it costs you $10,000 per episode, but your ad revenue comes out to be $45,000 per episode. All right, so you're spending $10,000, then you spend another $13,000 on top of that to air it, right? You take that $23,000 from that, let's say $45,000. So that's your net. That's what you bring back. So learning how to sell in TV is extremely important. But in government, I gave you PEG, Public Education and Government, P, Houston Media Source. E is education. That's HCC TV and HISD TV. They have their own cable channels. And then the G is government. That's who I'm with. I'm with HTV Houston Television. We are the city's official television station, Comcast 16, AT&T UVerse 99. We're also on smaller cable channels, Sudden Link and Phonoscope. And so our job is to show transparent government via our cable channels, our Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, social media, just like you guys are doing. And so all of our content is strictly about every city department, their initiatives, and any partnerships, quasi-government entities like Houston First, Houston Arts Alliance. So that's what we do. We're strictly government. And you did ask something else, but I think I explained it. But
No,
you hit me with the
was-
nappy and that.
No, but that's actually good for us to know, as far as within the city, to know who is reporting what, where to expect
Right.
it from.
Yeah.
Right.
So we just came out of the whole Trump situation.
Right.
What is the responsibility of local networks to kind of either debut or film what's going on, in the Capitol?
Well, I mean, all the news stations cover everything that's happening politically across the country here locally. And so our news stations would be either an affiliate or what we call an owned and operated. So in this market, Channel 13 KTRK is an owned and operated along with Fox 26. Those are O&Os. The affiliate stations are Channel 2, Channel 11. And so they're going to cover it, and they do a great job in terms of presenting the information to the audience without, in most cases, taking sides, right? Taking a liberal side or a conservative side. I think in your other shows, you get more of that, you mentioned Isaiah Carey. So typically in some of your other shows, whether they be independently produced or come from the network nationally, that's where you're going to get that liberal conservative spin. Local tends to do a pretty good job of kind of staying in that middle. Here it is, here's what happened. And so their responsibility is they're doing that every day. I mean, it doesn't change. Yeah. They have to give what's happening now. I mean, politics is huge. Politics is, and I don't know, we could debate this, but death and killing and politics are just about equal in terms of attention they're going to receive. First Block News, you're going to see death and killing and politics, right? They're doing that. But the smaller groups, though, I think you may be also talking about other networks, smaller. I think you have to cater to your base. Yeah. If your base is conservative, you're presenting information about what happened with the impeachment trials to a conservative base in a conservative manner. That's where you make your money.
So it's all still
that's
true,
your that's your that's your ad revenue.
Gotcha.
Because your advertisers are advertising because you take a conservative approach, right? If you're a liberal radio station, you're presenting that liberally and you're generating ads. And believe it or not, in terms of talk shows, conservative radio has tended to dominate. There hasn't really been that many liberal sort of radio talk shows, although podcasting in that environment is a lot different.
Especially in Houston, there's a really big conservative.
Right.
Like your AM.
Yeah, your AM,
Yeah, they're really, really big in Houston. Okay, so you actually spoke about death and killing. I want to talk about this really quickly. So you are known for putting out some work as far as some documentaries.
Yeah, I've done some. I've tried. I've attempted. Yeah.
Okay.
You just got an award from the 2019 Arlington Frame for Frame.
Yes. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Soul Alley.
Soul Alley. Yeah. Right.
Can you give us your background, creative process that you go through when it comes to creating different pieces? I
mean, I learned a lot at Fox 26. I was a sports photographer, also Channel 13 as a news editor. That's Channel 13 is where I got it. That's where the college happened, but 13 is what got me over the hump. And I acquired those really hard-nosed, hard-based editing skills to be able to tell stories beginning, middle, and end. And I did a little bit for Channel 2 as well. And so creatively, I've worked with people like Lloyd Geit, Fox 26, back in the day, and he really pushed the envelope on creativity. He wanted it. You had to do it. Mark Berman in the sports department at Fox, I learned just an incredible amount in terms of what grind really means. 13 helped me deal with timelines and deadlines. You had it every single day. The minute you came in the door, your shift 2 to 10, you might have a deadline at 2:05, 2:10, so you couldn't come to work at 2. You had to come to work at 1:30. So I learned about being organized, planning, timing, meeting deadlines and those milestones from Channel 13. But again, just the pacing. But besides doing all that and then meeting people like Jerry Hatton locally who were NPPA, National Press Photographers Association photographers, who taught me how to shoot for news, but with a cinematic flair, where you take some of the cinema techniques and add it to your news. And then Larry Brown, a guy I used to work with in Hightower Digital Media Academy, who was an engineer and a gaffer, taught me lighting and the lighting perspective. And so from there, I just kept going and going and grinding and grinding. I still do, even to this day. I still practice my lighting and cinematography and editing. And then when you get past all of that stuff, you take all of that and sort of build your own style and technique. And what helped me with documentaries is that I knew how to tell stories beginning, middle, and end, but it was only for a minute and a half, 2 minutes.
Yeah.
Long form is a killer.
Yeah.
It will break you. And so what helped me was a workshop at the main International Film and Video Workshops in Rockport with Steven Shepard, former 60 Minutes producer. The course was called 60 Minute Style Production. I used that style. So the same production techniques that 60 Minutes uses to put their stories together, I use for the documentaries. And so, Soul Alley is my most recent. You can actually see the progress. You can see, ooh, Lord, that was a horrible. What was he doing back in '99? Then you see the next doc. Then you see the next. Then you say, oh, I see the progression in his skill set.
Are you like how's your personality? Are you still Ted through all this, or you turn to somebody else?
Oh,
like,
no,
I gotta do this on my own.
Yeah, like, is there a
Ted wants a crew. Ted got to get money for the crew. So it's been one man band news style, which takes you much longer.
Yeah.
And you can make more errors and mistakes. You have to have a lot more eyes on it. And so what I'm hoping for, I did receive funding on this last project from Vets, Victories, and Dreams,
That's what I want to ask you about.
Vietnam group out of New Braunfels. And so that money helped me to hire some people to do some things, but it still wasn't enough to hire like a first AC, a gaffer, an electrician, someone to help with producing and assistant producing. That's the next goal for the next project. You have to have the money, because otherwise these projects will kill you, especially if you don't have a background in it.
Man, they will.
For you, is it really important to tell the story or get the information out when it comes to your documentaries? Because when it comes to news, it's like, all right, here's the information. There you go. But when it comes to your documentaries, are you trying to tell the story, give a voice to the people, or are you just trying to get it like, okay, you just didn't know that this was going on?
No, I try to give a voice. I mean, it's the same as news in terms of production. So come up with the idea and look at the funding, but then start scheduling the interviews, right? Because what happens with a news story and a documentary is that in the process, you find out there's a new story. Or it goes in a different direction, right? Like, oh, wow, wait a minute, we got to go this way. And so typically once you have all your interviews and sound bites and you've narrowed down those questions, right? And you may have let's say four questions you're going to ask everybody. And so once you have those sound bites and interviews, actually, that's the script. That tells you what you need to acquire in terms of footage. It's not like movies.
I was just about to say.
It's not like movies, though.
Ever, though. When you going through that documentary, you got to listen to every second of it.
Right, you have to, yeah. No, and that's why you have to have an assistant producer, you have to have an intern, you have to have someone to log everything.
Yeah.
And they have to log it by time code. And you have to organize. I use 60 Minute style requires index cards. So every single sound bite, meaning one answer for that question, has to be on a index card. Now, if you have 5 answers for that one question, you have to have 5 index cards. You need a huge floor. You're going to lay all this stuff out, and you're going to organize it, almost like you're doing a Venn diagram, right? So here's this question, and these index cards are green for this one question.
But you know what? I can see that, because I was doing that with my documentary at one point, index card, putting everything down. But that gets, jumbled up, especially when you lose a story after listening to something brand new.
But again, that intern or assistant producer will log everything in the computer first with time code, and they can actually export that as what we call an XML document. And it can have all that information. Then you take that, transfer it to the cards to be organized. I mean, it's a huge process. We take television and film for granted because so much of it happens every day. It's like an assembly line, so we're all used to it. We expect to see new things all the time, but typically people who are not in the business, they have no clue as to the work that's involved. I mean, this documentary is, to actually produce it was about 4.5 years. I mean, I've been working on it since, we're longer than that, since 2014.
Wow.
But the idea came in 1982, and I attempted to work on it in 1999. So that tells you how long.
I was just finna say, you done been in the industry for a while now.
Right.
So you actually got to see both sides of it, the beginning and like now people can just go cut something with a click of a button.
Yeah. So I wasn't in film. So in college, I actually cut audio like film. You take your razor blades, your chalk, and you take your reel-to-reel audio and you listen to it, stop, set an endpoint with chalk,
But see, that's
set
the
an
point.
out point
You
with
got
chalk,
to see
cut
the
it.
beginning of it.
Right.
The whole
Right.
beginning. Like I could just imagine now. You should be super fast before anybody else, as far as it come to editing, piecing everything.
Pretty fast.
Like,
Yeah,
I got it now. I ain't got to cut nothing. I ain't got to pull no scissors out, no chalk.
Hey, no, you don't have to do all that stuff. But that's actually the best way to learn how to edit. That craft of editing back then made us now better. And so even when I worked in TV, it was electronic, but it was tape to tape, right? And so you learn how to A/B roll edit. Like if I mention that to editors now, especially people younger than me, they're like, huh? You don't even know. Yeah, you A/B roll edit, meaning once you have a script, you have to lay down the foundation of the house. You can't build a house and build a roof and expect to put the roof up and you don't have the foundation, you don't have the piers, the beams, and all that kind of stuff set, right? So when you A/B roll, you're following the script. You're going to lay A roll, meaning audio tracks, sound bites, or nat sound pops. Those go in order based on the script first. Then you have black holes in your edit, and those black holes are where you come back, and that's when you put the B-roll. B-roll meaning secondary footage or any footage that is not an interview or not an audio track. So you A/B roll edit. And I tell editors all the time, if you can do it that way, you're going to end up being faster. Once you're faster, now you can switch and do whatever kind of editing you want to do. You can, it's non-linear in a computer. So you can go all kind of ways you want to do it, as long as it gets done, right? Yeah. So yeah.
But you ain't have Command Z.
Didn't have Command Z. No, that was it. You had one take. No.
Yeah, I say that one cut.
No, you had one take. That was it. You better get it right, because if it wasn't right, you have a problem.
When you're looking to expand your team, how important is it for you? Because you said, like, your younger people that are coming in that are newer to the craft, they're so used to the digital age that maybe some of them don't actually they don't get taught about what it used to take as far as doing film and recording and things like that. Like some people don't know what a short in and all these other things are. So what are you looking for when it comes to expand your team, coming off of the knowledge that, okay, they don't have the type of experience that I have, or are you just like...
So, well, for me, I mean, one of the things I learned from HISD being the magnet coordinated Jack Yates School of Communications and Maritime Logistics. What's up, JY? Yeah. My mama, stepfather, everybody, yeah. So, I mean, one of the things I expect is that as being a former HISD employee and an appraiser, I do the same thing when I'm at work, is that I want to see you grow. It really doesn't matter that you don't have my skill set. It's all about, are you willing to attend the workshops I'm going to put on, the trainings I'm going to put on? Show me that you want to learn and that you want to improve your craft. And so, with me now is my executive producer, Mariana Oyenguren. Mariana in the house. Woo-hoo! And so, Mariana's been a reporter internationally, has been all over the world, Telemundo, Univision. She's done all kinds of incredible work. But she used to edit, but it had been a long time. Now she's actually editing, nonlinear editing with Final Cut Pro. And so we've had training sessions. She's doing some great work editing. And so my thing is I take the appraisal approach. I want to see you grow. Hey, just put in the time. My expectation is not for you to be all of a sudden, you have to do what I do, within, 3 months or even 6 months. No, we're talking about a year, even a year longer. It's about progression.
Yeah.
No, they know they can't even reach that level. Like niggas would say, you can never come be me. You can never be me, ever. You can try to be like me, but you never.
No, hey, look, as a teacher teaching media and film, and I've taught at University of St. Thomas and HCC Art Institute, look, I want you to be better than me. You should be able to excel and go past. I'll tell people all day long, you're not gonna outshoot me, you're not gonna out edit me, and you won't be as creative. Not right now. But you will, and the goal is for you to be in a room somewhere, someone watches my piece, they watch yours, and everybody claps, and they give you a 10 out of 10, and I may have a 7.5 or 8. That's what I want. I want you to be the winner. Yeah. You should be better than where I am.
Do you have hope for the next generation?
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's just different times. It's different thought process. I think one of the fears in TV and film, just for this craft, right, in radio, audio, animation, those things, is that the young generation, they're not willing to, and I don't want to make a blanket statement. There are some that do it, but I see a lot that they want it right now.
Oh, yeah.
They don't
definitely.
want to do the legwork.
Definitely.
So when I tell them, oh, yeah, I've been in the business since 1993, not including college, and been grinding and working and doing this, and it took me many years to get here. Oh, no, dog, man, I ain't waiting on that, man. No, man, I need to do. They want it right now. They don't want to wait. And and I'm not saying you have to wait. There are plenty of young people who have the talent and skills and the hunger and the drive, and they absorb all this stuff. They go and work, they practice every night, and bam, they're like, oh, wow, man, this kid's doing some incredible stuff. But there are a lot more I've seen from interns and others. They just don't have that drive, and they just don't have the patience to understand that this is a craft. Like Steven Spielberg said, you have to know the science first, then the art. If you keep your mind at science and the art, which they all go together.
I think people really just associate the whole, like what you just said, when you come, oh, I've been in this since they automatically think, oh, I've been doing this since 1970. Oh, you rich there. You've been doing it this long.
Right.
You didn't crack the code. You didn't got, you know what I mean? They automatically think that comes with years, like you automatically know. And I don't think as you become an adult, you realize like, yo, this could take a little bit longer.
Well, I'm still learning. In this business, there's no such thing as, you've mastered it.
Yeah.
No.
I have to stay up with everything because it changes every 6 months.
Yeah.
Can you imagine if he was staying on the same techniques he did in 1979, 1980? You talking about taking a
Editing
long
real.
People would probably be like, all right, we can't work with him but you're seeing that now, and
I mean, I'm going off at the store. Say, dog, why the chalk got to be so high?
Look,
It was only 2 cents back then. Now you want $2.50.
But you're seeing that now, and you're seeing that across the board, especially when it comes to radio. They are doing a lot of layoffs, and they're changing the dynamics of what it means to be on air when it comes to radio.
Well, because of automation, AI.
It's kind of sad.
It's happening.
Yeah, I mean, AI can't replace this.
Yeah.
But master control rooms, engineers, all that kind of stuff. I mean, the AI is taking, most TV stations, if they have a master control person, where back in the day they had 3 or 4, there's typically maybe 1, in a lot of cases 0, because it's all controlled
By time code.
It's all controlled from the home office in New York, LA.
Wow. I am so grateful that we had you here.
Definitely.
We need to bring you back. And I want to bring you back so we can have this discussion. I want to bridge the gap between both generations, those that are up and coming. Because there's so much art. There's so much talent in this city. Houston is just this melting pot of just gems. Like, we should be the wealthiest city because there's just so much going on.
LA and New York, they keep sucking them out of here. Everyone leaves.
I don't know.
It's no really.
There's a few here,
It's
though.
no
They
real
might come
entertainment
this
hub
way.
here. I can say that it's coming now.
Hey, but
it's
city, we're working on. Hey, Houston Entertainment and Film Task Force. Hey, hold on, Houston Film Commission. Hey, we're working on it.
Now we're
City
gonna
of
ask.
Houston,
Where can
Mayor,
the people go
Thank
to get
you.
that information?
Let us know where we can get this information, how we can get connected to that.
on Facebook, and actually the Houston Entertainment and Film Task Force. So if you Google that or search on Facebook, that'll come up. The group will come up. So it's and I hate to say the wrong thing. I wanted to say the first weekend of each month, but I believe it's the third weekend of each month. There's a meeting, and so we already have major players like Greg Carter involved, Michelle Mora, who is one of the top Lifetime TV producers, lives here, produces content here. We've got quite a few people involved in this task force, and there's a lot happening. There's a lot going on. I mean, Story Hive, shout out to that group, Story Hive. That's a new film studio in the East End, Edo. Those things are happening. You have a lot of people, even the Houston Library, right? Let me just throw that out. With TechLink, y'all don't understand.
No, Michelle is over. I know. I was actually going to have her come. That's over there off Homestead, the Library of Homestead. They have an amazing establishment.
And there are going to be 10 more of those. You can go into any library once those are built across the city and cut a track.
It's people that still,
track.
don't know that right now.
Yeah, they don't know.
You could do film. You could make you a T-shirt.
Yeah,
you can make any, and it's all for
3D
free.
printing,
Time
all
to
for
get you
free.
your library
And it's
card
all
back,
for
guys.
free.
Video, yeah. Time to get the library card.
How can we follow you?
You can follow me or HTV.
How can we follow you and HTV?
Oh, okay. So I am personally on Facebook and Instagram, but just personal. So my business is not out except the company I use called beingus.tv is on Facebook. So you can look for Being Us, BEINGUS.tv. So that is me. But then HTV Houston Television is HTV Houston.net. HTVHouston.net. You can see us HTV Television, Houston Television on Facebook. We're HTV Houston Television on Instagram. So we're all over. We're on Twitter. We're working to get that a little bit bigger, right? We're going to be on Nextdoor, and we're working on LinkedIn. So if you go to the city website, you'll see HTV. You'll see the live council meetings broadcast every Tuesday and every Wednesday. HTVHouston.net.
There you got it. You got it right there.
And I can't sing. You know, we don't have a what do you call that? A jingle? I don't have a jingle. HTV. No, let me stop. We don't have a jingle. I don't have a jingle yet. We'll find somebody to make us a jingle.
I got you.
You got us?
I'm a jingle maker. I got this.
Oh, see? Networking.
All day. Just pop it right out the head. I was joking.
You're kicking it with G on your favorite station.
The perfect station.
92 KELZ, the only station with new music, new artists, new sound.